Third down and 20.
Now we're looking at the panic meter, and I don't know. There's a lot of big names on this one, actually, looking down the list. First off, we're going to kick it off with Allen Robinson. I'll touch on him real quick. My level on Allen Robinson is like a 2. I get that we've got the Matt Nagy offense, which still is just horrendous. The offensive line is not very good, but it's Allen Robinson who's literally proven that he's quarterback proof. He's unbreakable. I get it's not a great 3 starting weeks, but he's still seen like I could do it some real quick math. He's seen 21 targets through 3 games, 7 targets. It's just the production really hasn't come. Like he's only had 1 touchdown. He hasn't had many yards per catch, but it's just a matter of time. It's just he's just going to regress back to his mean, and we're just going to see Allen Robinson do Allen Robinson things again. I'm not worried in the slightest.
I'm panicking if I was expecting Allen Robinson to be a top receiver.
If my name is Chris, I'm panicking like hell. Otherwise, I'm fine. If
all
your
the
name's
Chris's
Chris
out there are shaking.
Yeah, if your name's Chris, you should be panicking so hard. If your name's not Chris, I wouldn't be worried.
Well, I'm pretty sure I was the only dude that was like in the offseason that rated Allen Robinson with an overrated tag.
Probably did.
Not that I saw the level of this happening. I just never really. He was kind of in that Keenan Allen category, where I think Allen Robinson's a good player. Don't get me wrong. And right now, like I think he's a great buy low because people are just really panicking on him. I mean, like JT said, you can get really cheap, high value targets. But I think this kind of just proved, at least what I thought, maybe what people thought in the back of their heads. Dude, if you were expecting Allen Robinson to be a top 15 receiver, I think that was just the bait. Like, I really never saw it. You compare him to Keenan Allen, I think he's just way less of a talent than someone like Keenan Allen is. And I don't like his play style a ton for consistency.
Yeah, no, definitely Keenan Allen in my head. My early prediction now is he's going to be everyone's favorite buy low this offseason.
Of course.
Everyone's going to be saying,
because everyone's going to be like, oh, Justin Fields is the full-time starter. Oh, he's going to be so good. Yes, everyone's going to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I can already see it coming.
Yeah.
Next on the panic meter.
Predictable.
Next on the panic meter, Myles Sanders.
Yeah, so I don't know if Matt Nagy and Nick Sirianni try to do a competition of who could have a worst offensive game plan for last week, but it was tough to watch on both their ends.
It might be Zach Allen or Zach.
You want to know what it is? Freaking Nick Sirianni, it looked like his mom dressed him for the freaking games, right? He's got like a highlighter in the pen. Oh, don't forget your purple pen, honey. Like he's got no wrinkles in his shirts. He's got no coffee stain. All of it, and then I think his mom made the freaking game plan too. Like packed his lunch and everything.
Listen, bro, you have your young QB in his 7th start on the road going against a high-powered offense, and you're asking him to drop back 50 times and outduel Dak Prescott and the Cowboys offense. Pretty much Myles Sanders got 2 carries for 27 yards. He finished the game with 4 carries for 55 yards, which is miraculous. He got 55 on just 4 carries. I don't know why Sirianni just forgot that the run existed. You have a young quarterback who's struggling. You might want to use it. But as for my panicking on Myles Sanders, ultimately what comes down with a lot of stuff for fantasy with me is, do I believe in the talent? Talent will usually be the biggest thing. And I still do believe in Myles Sanders. Throwing in the Jalen Hurts audible. He had a terrible game, but he still had 20 points.
Is anyone really panicking on Jalen Hurts?
Dude,
I don't think
people
fantasy
have to be
owners
panicking on Jalen Hurts after that performance. I
Yeah,
feel like
I've never bought into Jalen Hurts, so
I haven't either. But I mean, he's still in terms of fantasy production. He's still ended up with 20
that's
points.
a bad game for him, and he still ended up with 20.
I think this is actually a good time. Like if people are panicking on Jalen Hurts to buy him, this is a defense that he struggled against last year.
Yeah, the Cowboys game was his worst game as a rookie, also.
And I think that they, well, like they said, that game plan is terrible, dude. You don't even try to run the football.
They didn't do him any favors. And missing 3 linemen and still trying to pass
dude, and
times.
they're running that freaking angel safety the entire game. Like, they're taking away the one thing that I think that Jalen Hurts is actually decent at. He had the one deep ball interception that I think kind of got him off of trying to stretch the defense for the rest of the game. Then he's holding on to these RPOs for 90 seconds. It was just a freaking nightmare.
They had 0 plays with anyone in motion. But going back to Myles Sanders for me, I just think is still a very talented running back. I like the amount of snaps he got. And Kenneth Gainwell came in at the end when the score was like 32-14 from most of the end of the game, him and Boston Scott. But while they were still somewhat in it, Miles Sanders was getting the heavy majority of the snaps. I can't see Sirianni being that bad of a coach for that to happen again. At least I hope not. So I'm kind of buying low on Sanders right now. Obviously, I don't think the owners are going to be selling low like that, so I'm not saying to go out and trade off. I just mean on his stock in general. He's too talented of a running back for me to be like, oh, he's like trash now.
Yeah, Nick Sirianni's mom has got to come up with a better game plan.
It's like it's just because of the touch. He had 55 yards on 4 carries.
Film room.
He can only,
All right, Big Ben.
Right. I'm going to combine him with Matt Ryan.
All right, Big Ben and Matt Ryan. I'm not panicking on either of these guys. I mean, it feels like it's just the theme in both of them. Maybe for like longevity purposes, but
that Big Ben video was so fucking funny.
Dude, I still like Ben the rest of the season for fantasy as a cheap QB3, QB4 kind of desperation play.
I have no hope for these guys outside of this year at this point. I thought Big Ben was going to come back next year. I don't really think that. I think the Falcons are going to be just tired of Matt Ryan by next year. I think Matt Ryan's going to be tired of it next year, by next year anyway. I just think both these guys are gone by this upcoming offseason. I don't know if that means they end up somewhere else or whatnot, but they're just not really appealing fantasy plays either. Like I'd rather go risk it on other guys. I don't know. That's my 2 cents, I guess.
Oh, my next easy prediction, everyone. Guys, the Steelers receivers are buy low this offseason. No, thanks.
Yeah.
They
were overvalued. I think we all agreed that they were overvalued this
dude, I still like
I don't think they were overvalued. I think Claypool and Deontay
priced.
are that talented.
Claypool,
dude, like, if
talented.
anything, it showed from that last week, aside from our offensive line sucking just ass, Deontay Johnson was like needed for that football game for us to move the football.
I think you need a lot of things, like a prime Tom Brady, for example.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe I'm panicking a little bit on these guys.
Yeah, there it is.
Absolutely.
Well, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. If I'm panicking in terms of like their value 2 weeks ago, yeah, like it's definitely gone down. But I mean, I don't think they're like bad players, and I think that the panic from the consensus is more of a panic than what I think it should be. So that's why.
Well, yeah, I think the thing is you were just lower on them than consensus was, so it doesn't really seem as much like a panic to you versus like.
Well, I wasn't lower. I'm not. Like if you look at keep trade cut, they're probably going to be two of the biggest fallers. Like I don't think they're falling that much to me. I
mean, for example, Matt Ryan was viewed as for a contender, he can be your QB2.
Matt Ryan,
people thought that
more
coming into the
panicking
season
on because Matt Ryan, yeah, you're right. Like you might have bought him at an actual quarterback price. Ben Roethlisberger, you weren't going to pay coming into the season more than like a late.
You probably didn't want him as your QB2, yeah. But no, Matt Ryan coming into the season was viewed as like, hey, you can be a contender and have Matt Ryan as your QB2.
Or AJ Brown though. AJ Brown,
I think AJ Brown is going to be one of those where it's the legitimately buy low because I see people like actually like not even being like, oh, it's only a couple weeks. I see people being like, we were just completely wrong about it. And now he's out for a couple weeks with a hamstring injury, which for receivers especially, those get tricky. Like those are the type of injuries that end up, you think it's like 2-3 and ends up being like 6 or something. I don't know if it was a grade 1 or grade 2 for sure yet, but I think he's going to be someone where, especially I'm guessing AJ Brown's owned a lot by contenders. He's starting to miss time. If I'm a rebuilding team, I'm kind of looking at him to kind of try to buy low and giving the contender a receiver that can help them win now.
He's
especially if this injury nags.
He's dropped from being wide receiver 2 overall on keep trade cut to wide receiver 8 in less than a month.
Yeah, like that's.
I'm panicking.
I still
have him in my top 5.
No, I was big on AJ Brown. I'm with Frank on this one. I am absolutely panicking. I mean, I was offered him this offseason, and I declined because I was worried about his injury history, and it's just come back and bit him again. I mean, I think he's a guy that really relied on a lot of big plays and some bad tackling to make a lot of his points. And now just, injuries and Tannehill's not looking as good as he was the previous few years. And Julio Jones is there, is going to pull targets. Derrick Henry's always going to be there and demand 20, 25 carries. I know he's 24 and I know there's a long way to go in his career, but I might be reconsidering his price. And I think if you could still trade him at that, I think if you could trade him at that wide receiver 5 even price, I think I would probably do it.
JT, who's next to him in keep trade cut? Some of the players next to him.
Good question.
Two above, two below.
While I look for that, my 2 cents are I just think that he is someone that people are valuing as like he could have like top 5 wide receiver finishes. Where I look more as him like he's like very consistent. Like
he's going to be like a top 12 guy
10,
for a lot
12,
of years.
15 for like 8 or so years. It looks like it's Joe Burrow, Derrick Henry, Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore are who's up and below him.
I mean, I think that I took a little bit of the bait on AJ Brown because I wasn't huge on him, but then there was a point late in the offseason where I was like, fine, he's a 5th in my receiver rankings. And now I'm like, now I see what's happened. Like, fuck, I was initially right. I had him around that like 8, 9, 10-ish spot on my receiver rankings and on my overall, like, you get the freaking point. I'm panicking just because, like, dude, I'm not liking this Titans offense right now. It's going to be inconsistent all season to me. It's so dependent on if Derrick Henry can just destroy everyone. And
I think it's a fair point about the offense.
Is that they just don't throw the fucking football a lot. Like,
I think it's a fair point about the offense. I'm buying the talent with not expect. He's not going to have a good season this year.
Okay, yeah,
between coming off that injury,
AJ Brown could be fine. I'm not saying he's a bad player, and I'm not saying that he can't be a buy low. But like Jake said, if you still have the truthers that are clinging on to a wide receiver 6, wide receiver 5 valuation of him, man, I will sell at that. And I would much rather, like you talk about what we were talking about earlier, like downgrading. Yeah, I will downgrade off of AJ Brown gladly. I'm just tired of being in an offense that's only that's throwing the ball league bottom rates, and now with the injuries and stuff, yeah, maybe I'm just panicking. I don't want it anymore. I'm done.
I'm said truther, but I think rebuilding teams are the ones that really should be going for him right now. Offer win now pieces. Go
Myles
ahead.
Gaskin.
Yeah,
Panic.
I mean,
Dude,
I was never
panicking.
I was never big on Myles Gaskin, and
Me neither.
it's just showing why. He has little to. I think he was a 7th round draft pick, so he has very low draft capital. He was drafted by the previous coaching staff in the first place, so this coaching staff has no ties to him. And on top of that, he got benched this week for Malcolm Brown,
who didn't look bad at all.
Okay, I think benched is a harsh word. Like
he was benched, though.
Played.
He wasn't the starter. Put it that way.
Yeah, he's still there.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the misconception I have with Myles, because I actually still like Myles Gaskin, and I'm looking to buy him. It's just we finally reached what Myles Gaskin should have been all along, and that he's not this. And I think I took the bait more in redraft leagues on Gaskin than anything else, because I thought that this offense would just be a lot of check down Charlie kind of stuff. It just seems like Waddle
was the
that
check down
kind of guy. Yeah,
Waddle had 12 targets last week.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's a lot of underneath non-valuable targets, but that's what Myles Gaskin was getting last season.
Right.
He was the guy getting all that dump-off crap.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem in and of itself, is that if he's not going to get the 7-8 targets, then what the hell am I having him for if I can still get a 2nd-round pick for him? Unless I'm trying to really contend. And I'm like, damn, like my top 2 running backs above him are terrible. Yeah, I'll take seconds.
Any Gaskin owner right now, if you can get any 2nd-round pick for him, still take that offer.
Absolutely.
Maybe not like the contenders second.
I'd still take like a 210, 211.
I
would take that.
I don't know if I want 211, 212.
Frank.
The Dolphins are going to draft her back or bring in someone.
The offseason, and everyone's clamoring over these picks. They're like, I want to get back into the 2nd round. I want to get back into the 2nd round. You're going to like that you gave up Myles Gaskin for that pick.
And the Dolphins are going to bring someone in. If he's losing snaps now to Malcolm Brown, if they bring in anyone who's just like a decent running back free agent, draft someone in the 3rd or 4th round.
I mean, we all agreed earlier in the season that he's just one of those backup running backs that ascended too far and was a good sell opportunity if applicable. It was a hard sell, but if you were creative, you probably should have done it.
Right. I mean, I think the problem, and I think
we just got to move on. Like, I mean, we all agree on the Gaskin thing. Like, we know what he's at.
All right, Robby Anderson, you better be panicking because Terrace Marshall's coming. Robby Anderson's out.
I was panicking on Robby Anderson 2 seasons too early.
I think there's too many narratives that we're going and pushing Robby Anderson's way. I think he still will have his boom bust games, but it won't be like a Tyler Lockett boom bust games. It'll be not as cool, and therefore panic because Terrace Marshall's better.
I guess what it depends the expectations are for him. I don't know if people expect him to repeat last season. I said no just for the fact that McCaffrey's back, and I think DJ Moore is going to be better. And obviously they drafted Terrace Marshall. So I was already a little bit lower on him entering this year, so I guess I'm not in full panic mode compared to my evaluations. I still think he's going to be an important part of the offense. There's a reason they just extended him before this season. They have a plan for him in the offense. And Matt Rule said after the game, we have to get him the ball more. Terrace Marshall is going to be a presence, but I guess it depends with your evaluation.
Contracts are bait. You could restructure. You could cut guys. There's dead cap. Who cares? I don't care about his contract. He's done.
Yeah. Tyson Williams, panic.
Heavy panic.
Yeah. I was panicked right after his first half. Once it turned into the second half and he fumbled 2 times and then he was ceding touches to Latavius Murray and whatnot, I was like, all right, that was a good stint by him, but it's over. I just don't see him coming back.
Do you think the panic is to such a point where it's a potential buy low?
No,
or is it not worth
especially,
it?
I don't know if you guys saw the report today. The Colts and Marlon Mack both mutually agreed to look for a trade. So a Marlon Mack trade should be happening over these next couple of weeks. I don't know, maybe San Fran, Buffalo, Baltimore's definitely in there. If he ends up there, it's completely over for him. So I'm also on panic for Tyson.
The Ravens also just didn't run the ball a ton, which is weird, which is why if I could get a decent price, I would sell, and I am panicking. It's just I'm not going to sell for complete chump change just yet.
I just don't think you're going to get anything. Who's giving up a valuable asset for Tyson Williams?
I was thinking a third. A third.
I don't even know if you'll get that.
Why not?